All right, welcome back, guys. This should be a fairly short one, but there's some... Obviously, it's been an exciting 24 hours. You know, we had BlizzCon line last night, so we all know now that Classic TBC is 100% confirmed. We knew the day before BlizzCon that it was confirmed, but, now we're extra certain. So I want to just go over the basics of what we learned at BlizzCon line, obviously. Now, the good thing is we learned that they're open to changes. Now, this is great news. As beta goes through its cycle, we should expect community-driven changes, which is brilliant. So one they spoke about specifically was the difficulty of bosses and the fact we're going to get bosses in pre-nerf states. Now, this is great news, obviously, because, we want challenging content. We don't want it to be the same as it was with Classic, where it was completely face roll. Now, before you think I'm just regurgitating old news that everybody knows because you watched it live, there's some real juicy bits coming from an interview with a fan website, but they was actually an ex-Blizzard customer service employee, whatever you want to call them, and they actually did an interview with John Haidt and Brian Birmingham, so WoW devs basically. Now, they gave some really key information that we need to know, but let's get through the boring stuff first, and then we'll get to that, because that's going to be good. So like I said, open to changes. Obviously, that's amazing. Now, I'm gonna post a video in the near future of what we might expect from certain bosses in a pre-nerf state and basically what it means for us. And one change that they mentioned is Seal of Blood and Seal of Vengeance, but both Horde and Alliance Paladins are going to get both seals, which is... It took me by surprise. I've spoke about whether they should or whether they shouldn't, and a lot of people said, no, there's no way they'll do it. But even I was quite shocked that we are actually getting Alliance and Horde with Seal of Blood. Obviously, that's really good news for you Ret Paladins, because it would have been a bit harder to be competitive as a Ret Paladin on the Alliance side. Now you've just not got that to worry about now. Now, the one I personally don't like, but I see why it's happening, is the level 58 boost. There's a massive portion of the population who had no interest in playing Classic, not as it is anyway, but they do want to play TBC. Now, I know some of these people personally, so the option for them to come back closer to release and using a boosting service to 58 is obviously perfect for... well, definitely for them. And the fact that we all can get a free Druid, for example, to get to 70 and use for farming, I can see that quite useful, obviously, anyway. Now, some of the details you should be aware of about the boost is you can only use one per account. You can't use it on Draenei Blood Elves. So if you was thinking, I'm just going to boost a Paladin or a Shaman, a Horde Paladin or an Alliance Shaman, should I say, you're not going to be able to do that. You will have to level it. And you also can't use it on Classic era realms, which we're going to get into next. So you will only be able to use them on Classic TBC realms. So like I say, this now leads me on nicely to how the servers are actually going to be handled. And this will be best just illustrated with the picture that's on Wowhead. So basically, on each of your characters, so this is not account-wide, this is by character basis, if you like, you'll be having to make a decision on whether you progress on to a Classic TBC realm with your character, or you move it to a Classic era only realm, where obviously you'll never progress past level 60. Now, they will be offering a paid option to copy your character, so you can keep the same character on both TBC and obviously in a WoW Classic era if you wanted to do that. Me personally, I'm not really bothered about doing that. I know how time-consuming TBC is going to be, so I'm just going to be sticking with TBC. I might copy one of my alts that I'm not really bothered about to a Classic-only era, just to see how the servers go over time. But to be fair, I've been waiting for TBC, so just give me TBC servers. I'm not really bothered about anything else. The other quite minor change, but which is really good, and it'll be welcomed by all you PvPers, I'm sure, is what they've done with arena teams. So in original TBC, obviously you had 2s, 3s, and 5s, which that's still the case. But in a 2s team, you can only have 2 people. In a 3s team, you can only have 3. And in a 5, obviously, 5s team, you can only have 5. Now, they've doubled it for each. So you can have 4 in a 2s team. So let's say if your friend that you PvP with, just to cap every week. Because what I would say is if you're a hardcore PvPer and like doing arenas, you'll probably be in a 2s team, you'll be doing it with the same person every week because you build cohesion, you start to play well together, all that sort of good stuff that you would expect from a 2s team. But if you're just more interested in capping each week, now you've got that flexibility, because if your friend that you normally cap with weekly, you're not pushing rank, you're not pushing anything, all you want is the cap. If he goes on holiday, now you can just invite someone else to the team, cap with them instead. So that, I see that as quite a good change for the more, I'd say, casual PvPers or the PvEers are trying to get specific PvP gear just by capping each week. Now, the big one for me was the Draenei and Blood Elves, and how they're going to actually handle the launch, basically. We've spoke about it numerous times, saying, will they come in the pre-patch? Will we even have a pre-patch? Or, will they be unlocked when the Dark Portal opens, basically. Well, now we actually know, so you are going to be able to play them in the pre-patch. Now, I'm sure that's good news for you people who want to play Alliance Shamans or, you know, Blood Elf Horde Paladins, or even if you just wanted to be one of those races, you know, as a class that's already accessible to your faction, if you like. Maybe you want a Blood Elf Mage or a Blood Elf Warlock. Well, now you're going to get that period of time where you can actually level up before the Dark Portal opens. But the reason I see this as really, really good news as well is because now we're guaranteed a pre-patch. Before, we didn't even know, were we going to get a pre-patch or would it just go straight into TBC? Well, now we know we're definitely going to get one. And that's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun period where you're level 60 doing knack still, but with your 70 talents. You know, I can see some quite crazy stuff coming up. And don't forget, you even get arenas, only skirmishes, but you get arenas at level 60 as well. And you can grind out the PvP gear and all of that just to maybe make your leveling easier when you go into the Dark Portal, into Outland. I've actually done a video of what to expect in the pre-patch, so make sure you check that out in case you're not familiar on what exactly the pre-patch brings. But moving on to now the good stuff that I've not really seen anyone talk about, because I think this is quite a hidden gem, if I'm honest with you. Oh, actually, before I move on to the really good stuff, I suppose I should cover the phases, because that has been announced as well. So in the phases, I'll just put on screen. We will only have Tier 4 at launch. Well, Tier 4, you know, all the dungeons, other than Magister's Terrace, obviously, but the dungeons in their heroic form once you get the reputation to be able to get the keys. So I'm sure this is great news for a lot of people because, you know, we will consume the content incredibly fast if Tier 5 was available at launch. Obviously, that's just what we do. I am personally hoping that the gap between Tier 4 and Tier 5 is not too long. You know, I don't want people to start getting bored and falling off because all you've got is Gruul, Magtheridon and Karazhan for 3-4 months. You know, I think if it's 6 to 8 weeks, something like that, you know, I'd see that as a reasonable amount of time just for Tier 4, because you're still going to be farming Tier 4 while Tier 5's out anyway. It just means you might need an extra raid day or whatever, but, you know, you're still going to be doing it, even if it was just gearing up ults. So if we go through the phases, so we're going to get Tier 4 at launch. Now, the Arena Season 1 was originally going to come in Phase 2, but Blizzard seem to be now thinking about changing that. So the Arena season will come out in Phase 1, obviously Arena Season 1, which is good news. We don't want to wait till Phase 2, you know, before we actually get Arena, or proper, you know, ranked Arena anyway. In Phase 2, we'll get, obviously, Tier 5, which is SSC and TK, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Obviously, there's a lot of achievements to do along the way, but you'll get plenty of time in Phase 1 to do those anyway. The bit that confused me about the Blizzard sort of announcement that they might be sort of changing the way this is handled is that they said then Arena Season 2 will come out with Phase 2, but Arena Season 1 would then be extremely short, so I'm not too sure about that, so I don't want to go into too much detail around the Arena Season launches, more the PvE content. So as I say, Phase 2 we're going to get Tier 5, then in Phase 3 we're going to get Tier 6 of course, which is Black Temple and Mount Hyjal, then Phase 4 is just Zolaman, so I'll probably see this being quite a short phase, maybe as short as maybe Phase 1, I would say. And then, of course, obviously, Phase 5 will be Sunwell Plateau. This will unlock Magister's Terrace, which is a dungeon over on Isla Quel'Danas. Obviously, Isla Quel'Danas opens, so it unlocks tons of dailies and crafting recipes, obviously due to the Shattered Sun Offensive reputation. Now, I'm not sure if I missed any of this additional information in BlizzCon Online. Maybe I did, but for those who join me over on the stream, so I stream over on Twitch, Scottejaye87. Obviously, me and Metagoblin done a special sort of watch party. It was a great turnout, so thank you all you guys who turned up. I hope you had a good time. I apologise, me and Meta getting a bit too drunk a little bit too soon, but yeah, it was still good fun. So if I did miss any of this following detail, please let me know, but I've actually been sent this by, shout out to Matt G. I hope I'm saying your name right, probably not, but anyway, thanks for sending me this. So this was actually, I had to Google translate it, so this was a fan site that interviewed the devs, like I said at the start. I had to translate it using Google Translate, so some of it might not be completely clear, but you know, I'm hoping I've picked out the really juicy bits, the bits that we really want to know. So I'll put it up on screen and I'll just briefly let you know what what I've took away from this and how some of it is potentially quite big. So I suppose the first and the most important really is that we'll be going into Outland in the final patch state. So that's state 2.4.3, which I've speculated about numerous times on the channel. Obviously the impact of this is going to be like the Karazhan items are going to be better, classes are going to be more balanced, so spells, you know, changed coefficients throughout the expansion in the original TBC. So items, like I say, are going to be slightly different. Professions are going to be slightly different, as in recipes, like the power of recipes and things like that. And obviously talents, you know, talents change between 2.0 and 2.4.3. So it's a more sort of polished state in 2.4.3. But the fact that we are going to get, hopefully, the majority of the bosses at a pre-nerf state, then obviously that's cool. You know, they will still be slightly easier than they would have been back in the day in a pre-nerf state, because the classes wasn't as balanced as they obviously were in 2.4.3. But it's still going to be an all-round good experience. experience, I'm quite pleased with that, if I'm honest with you. So they also confirmed flat out that world buffs will not work past level 63, which we know from previous patch notes anyway, but I'm sure everyone's clapping and cheering, you know, at having this confirmed. So no more raid logging for 3 days and not being able to play your main. You know, this is great, if I'm completely honest with you. You might then be thinking, you hear world buffs and you might be thinking, well, hang on, what about that drums video that you've done? You know, and we all hate you for because you're saying that drums are going to be the meta. I'm wrong. I said I'd stand corrected. I am standing corrected, and this is going to make so many of you really, really happy. So what they've actually come out and said is that the team are looking to adjust level working to stop this upcoming meta. So this is huge news, and so many people will be happy about this. The news needs spreading super fast, so please share this video, if not for anything else, but for this key bit of information, because people like myself are probably leveling level working as we speak, getting ready for the drums meta, where you're not going to need to do that by the looks of it. Don't get me wrong, this is not set in stone, but they have outright said they do not want the raids to have the requirement of 25 level workers. So that sounds like good news, sounds like they're going to address it. They'll probably just give it a sated debuff or something like that, I would have thought. So, you know, heroism's going to be stronger, but then it does kill level working a little bit, other than for the crafted gear. But I'd say as long as they keep drums having a little bit of a bonus, but maybe not requiring every man and their dog to be level working, you know, everyone's going to be happy. And I know there's going to be a lot of people happy because I got a lot of dislikes on that video saying how good level working is for drums. But anyway, I'm sure you're pleased about that. They've also said that attunements are going to stay in their original state. Well, so that's attunements to heroic dungeons, which in later patches, obviously, it required honoured to get the key to be able to get in heroics. It's still going to be revered to be able to get in, and the same with like the Karazhan attunement was removed, but it will still be in its original state. So all those long attunements that you've been getting yourself ready for, they're still going to be there, which is obviously great news. They should be there. Of course they should be there. Now this one's quite interesting. So the levelling nerf, obviously it was introduced in 2.2, so levelling in TBC will be quicker because 11 to 60 has had the experience from quests increased and the experience required overall reduced. So this would be nice to see in the pre-patch, I'd say, instead of actually it coming out when the Dark Portal opens. I think that would be a really big benefit for the, you know, the Blood Elves and Draenei's that are leveling. Now, I don't know whether we'll have like a specific patch for the pre-patch or if it will just be sort of embedded into 2.4.3 but Outland is closed. I mean, I don't know what way that's going to go. If it's an individual patch, then obviously no, the leveling squish, if you want to call it that, will not be in the game. But if we go in 2.4.3 even for the pre-patch, then yes, it will. Which, again, I think that would be quite nice for you people who want Shamans and Paladins, you know, on the Horde and Alliance respectively. So, pretty cool. They've confirmed layering is a thing. We knew that layering was going to be a thing. How else were they going to handle it? You know, let's be fair. What could they do other than add layers? But they are looking at mechanically how to handle the layers as well and actually improve on the layering system as a whole compared to how it was in Classic. So again, good news. You know, at least they're working on a system that we do need. You know, it's going to be a requirement due to the size of Outland overall and the amount of people we're going to try and cram in there. So yes, we need layers, but we do want layers to be balanced and, you know, the way they work to be crisp. So it's good that they're addressing that as well. And they've confirmed, which we know, obviously, we know it's going to be coming in a couple of years' time. So they've confirmed Wrath of the Lich King, as in they've not confirmed it, but they've said, you know, they're open to it as long as it's what the community wants. So obviously we will. We're going to get bored of TBC at some point. We're going to want Wrath. So as far as I'm concerned, Wrath is a sure thing now. And I can't see this, so I don't know whether it's because of Google Translate or maybe there was some of this interview that I missed and the guys on Discord that were telling me about it, maybe, you know, they saw it but it's not included in these notes. They apparently said that there'll be no fresh TBC servers, like categorically said there'll be no fresh TBC servers until the classic TBC servers are stable and the communities have settled down. So they're not saying there'll never be fresh TBC servers, but just not at launch. So obviously, you know, I've been hoping to get at least a fresh server that I could play on, but, you know, it just means I'm going back to Classic a bit early and getting myself ready now, which, you know, is not a bad thing. And I might not have to worry about level working now, so, you know, double win. Well, not double win, but at least softens the blow of not having fresh servers. That's probably what I should say. And then finally, before I sign off, make sure you sign up to the beta. I'll just put it on screen now. I'll put a link in the description as well. You can sign up on multiple accounts. So if you've got a couple of Battle.net accounts, obviously make sure you sign up on both of them. I've signed up on 2. Fingers crossed for a beta invite. If you do get a beta invite, let me know in the comments just so I can be really, really jealous if I don't get one. And obviously make sure you like, subscribe. Thank you for staying till the end. Obviously plenty more TBC content to come. I'll see you on the next one.